Hello and welcome everybody to episode 2 of the What is StarCraft series. My name is Glitch and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Terran Race. I'm going to try to make this a quick introduction to the Terran Race for those of you that don't know anything at all about StarCraft. In episode 1 I kind of talked about the basics of the game. Now I'm going to get a little more in-depth into the Terran Race and tell you the basic stuff about what you need to know about Terran. Alright, first we're going to do a quick talk about the buildings that the Terran Race has. Their main building is called a command center. That is this building here that I am selecting right now. From this building I can build workers. This is where I can build additional workers that can harvest resources for me, as well as build buildings. One of the most basic types of buildings that the workers can build is called the supply depot. For Terran, this is their way of increasing the supply count and the amount of army units that I can have at any one time. You can see that my supply depots can go up and down just like this. This allows Terrans to create walls at important places like ramps. Next, I'm going to talk about the unit producing structures for the Terran Race. As you can see, these three buildings we have on screen right now are the three basic unit producing structures for Terran. That means that these are the buildings that create army units. The barracks is where we create infantry units. The factory is where we create the mechanical units like siege tanks and things like that. And the starport is where we make spaceships and other kinds of flying units. Accompanying those buildings, we have these buildings, which are upgrade buildings. Here we have an engineering bay, which allows us to upgrade the attack damage and the armor of our infantry units. Then we have an armory, which allows us to upgrade both our vehicles from our factory and our ships from our starport. Next, I'm going to talk about the defensive buildings the Terran has. The Terran has three different types of defensive buildings. The first is the bunker. That is this guy right here. It is a little building that allows us to take our ground units and put them inside of there, and it gives them a little bit of armor. They can shoot from inside this building and do a little bit of damage. Next is the missile turret. The missile turret is this unmanned turret that can only target air units. And last we have the sensor tower. This creates a circle on our minimap that you can see down here in the bottom left corner, and anytime any enemy units come into that circle, it is going to show up on this minimap as little red dots that wouldn't normally show up if enemy units are in that territory. Next, I'm going to talk about building add-ons. Building add-ons is a special thing just for Terran that allow us to do extra things with our buildings. So, if I click on a building, you can see down here, I've got the option to build a tech lab or build a reactor. I'm going to just build a tech lab right now, and while that's building, I'm going to talk about what a tech lab does. As you can see, I started a tech lab over here, and this tech lab has finished building. Depending on what building this tech lab is attached to, it allows me to upgrade different kinds of units. In this case, since it's attached to a starport, it gives me the ability to upgrade my starport type units. The other type of add-on is this guy right here. This is a reactor. It allows me to build multiple units at one time. As you can see, I am now building 2 Hellions at once. One thing worth noting is that at any time, Terran buildings can also lift off. Most Terran buildings have the ability to fly around just like this, and because of this ability, I can allow them to swap add-ons just like that anytime I want, and it allows me to upgrade. Now I can upgrade with this tech lab that was before on my starport. Now I can upgrade my factory units. It now has factory upgrades. One final building that I want to talk about just briefly are the Army Tech buildings. These are buildings that allow you to get units that you couldn't otherwise get before. That is the Ghost Academy, which allows you to build ghosts, and the Fusion Core, which allows you to build battlecruisers, both of which I will discuss shortly. You remember that we talked about the Command Center earlier. The Command Center is the basic building which allows us to build more worker units. The Command Center also has these two other abilities, though, to upgrade to an orbital command or planetary fortress. I have already built a couple of those, or I've built one of each here at this base here. Now, they still operate just as a command center. I can still build more workers at them, and when workers gather more resources, they can still bring resources home to that command center. It's just that this one, which I put an orbital command on, now has the ability to do several things. I can drop a mule. You can see here, call down mule, and this creates this little mule, which for a limited time allows me to mine minerals and at a much higher rate than my regular workers create. This allows me to have a very nice econ with Terran. Next, it allows me to use a call down of extra supplies. This, if I go back to my supply depots over here, allows me to increase my supply. See, I just added that supply depot add-on there, and it increased my supply count. And the last thing that it can do is I can use a scanner sweep. This scanner sweep allows me to see a bit of terrain that I could not see before, and it reveals a bit of terrain and also reveals invisible units. The Planetary Fortress is another upgrade for the command center, which allows it to become a very defensive unit and allows the Planetary Fortress to attack units at will. You can see that my Planetary Fortress is now attacking units, and it will defend my workers anywhere I have it. One other thing I'd like to note about the Terran race is that the Terran has a unique ability in that they can repair their buildings. If ever any of their buildings take damage, like I am attacking this bunker here with my Marines, you can see that its health is decreasing. I can bring in a worker at any time and repair that building back up to full health, and you can see that its health is increasing here on this little bar as well. And I can always heal any of my buildings at any time in this manner. I can also heal units that come out of a factory or a starport. Finally, I'm going to discuss the units that Terran can produce. Out of the barracks, there are these 4 units that Terran can produce. The Marine, which is your basic backbone unit, weak but can shoot ground and air units. A Marauder does heavy damage to armored units and can only shoot ground units. A Reaper is a very fast recon unit that can jump up and down ledges and does a lot of damage to buildings. The Ghost, which can turn invisible, as well as launch nukes, launch EMPs, which can take out shields and energy of other units, and also snipe units, which is an ability that does a lot of damage to other infantry units. From the factory can produce these 3 units. The Hellion, which is a very, very fast recon unit with a flamethrower that damages a bunch of units in a line. The Siege Tank, which has the ability to siege up, at which point it cannot move, but it has a very, very large attack range that it can shoot and do massive damage from. And the Thor, which is a very, very heavy-duty attack unit. The Starport can produce these 5 units here. The Medevac, which allows me to pick up units and drop them off at other places, as well as heal my infantry units. You can see that this Reaper that I damaged earlier is now being healed by this Medevac. A Viking, which is an anti-air unit when it is flying. You can see it is now attacking my flying units. And it can then transform into a ground unit where it can attack ground units. The Raven is a spellcaster unit. It's a detector. It allows me to see invisible units around it, but it also has the ability to drop turrets that can deal damage, and these point defense drones, which allow these point defense drones to absorb some of the damage of attacking units. The Banshee is a flying unit that can only attack ground units, and it can cloak. Very nice for stealth missions and dealing a lot of damage to worker lines and scouting enemy positions. The Battlecruiser is the beefy unit of the Terran army. These are a massive spaceship that deal a lot of damage and have the ability to fire a Death Star-like ray that just deals massive damage to whatever it hits. Alright guys, you have now learned the basics of the Terran race. Today I have covered some of the basics, like the buildings Terran has, as well as the army units that Terran have. I'm hoping that this encourages you guys, if you haven't played StarCraft before, to go out and try the Terrans. The Terrans are definitely a fun race to play and a powerful race as well. If you guys want to learn more about the other 2 races, I am going to be covering episodes tomorrow as well as the day after. I'm doing a similar type of thing that I did today with the Terrans, and just covering the basic buildings and the basic units that the Protoss and the Zerg have to defeat their opponents. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you guys want to see more, please comment, please subscribe. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was entertaining and informative for all of you. Glitch out.